She was just a cleaner, 3 weeks on the job, invisible to the wealthy eyes around her. At a glittering ballroom in New York City, with 200 of the city's elite watching, one small accident changed everything. A crystal tray slipped, shattered on the floor, and laughter erupted. Then came the cruel challenge from a drunken millionaire. If she can waltz across this floor, I'll marry her to my son. The crowd expected humiliation. But what they didn't know was that the woman they mocked had once held a secret powerful enough to silence them all. Would she reveal it tonight? Monica Johnson wasn't supposed to stand out. At 35, she had taken on a contract cleaning job just 3 weeks earlier, working late nights to keep the bills paid. The ballroom of New York's newest skyscraper was not her world. It belonged to the wealthy guests dressed in silk and diamonds, sipping champagne under chandeliers. For her, it was just another shift, just another night of wiping, polishing, and staying invisible. But on this night, the crowd was larger, louder, and more important than usual. 200 of the city's elite had gathered for the grand opening of Anderson Enterprises' towering new headquarters. Cameras flashed, music played, and laughter rolled across the marble floor. Monica kept her head down, carrying a tray of crystal glasses through the crowd. She knew her place, on the edges, never in the spotlight. And yet, fate doesn't ask permission. One slip, one shattering sound, and silence fell over the glittering hall. Every eye turned toward her. The arrogant figure of Richard Anderson III, heir to a vast fortune and immense power, stepped forward. His words were sharp, cruel, and laced with mockery. He turned her accident into a spectacle, a wager, a humiliation. What the guests didn't know was that Monica carried a past far greater than any of them could imagine. A past buried under years of pain, but waiting for a moment, this moment, to return. The laughter in the ballroom was sharp, cruel, and loud enough to cut through Monica's chest. A cleaner was supposed to be invisible. Yet here she was, standing in the middle of the room, glass shards around her feet, every eye waiting for her next move. Richard Anderson III, flushed with alcohol and arrogance, smirked at the crowd. If she can waltz across this floor, I'll marry her to my son, he declared, turning her mistake into entertainment. The guests erupted in delight, thrilled by the humiliation. Some whispered, others pointed. To them it was a show, a maid being mocked for sport. Christopher Anderson, Richard's 28-year-old son, lowered his gaze in shame. He disagreed, but his father's voice drowned out his silence. Eleanor Anderson, Richard's wife and a ballroom instructor, stepped forward, ready to prove herself instead. The wager hung heavy in the air, a cruel reminder of how little Monica's dignity meant to those in power. At first, Monica said nothing. She could have stayed quiet, picked up the pieces, and slipped back into the shadows. But something stirred deep inside her. The mocking, the laughter, the assumption that she was less than human, because she was black, because she was a maid, cut deeper than any glass. And then, in a calm, steady voice, she said, "I accept." The room froze, gasped, then more laughter. Surely this would be the highlight of the evening, watching her stumble across the polished floor. Bets were whispered. Drinks were raised. Richard's grin widened, convinced he was about to crush her spirit in front of everyone. Eleanor danced first. Her steps were polished but shallow, graceful but uninspired. The audience applauded politely, more interested in the humiliation to come. And then Monica stepped forward. The music began. Her body moved not like a maid forced into a game, but like a woman who had once lived on stage. Every line of her arms, every turn of her body carried a mastery no amateur could fake. Pirouettes spun like lightning, fouettes whipped with precision, and grand jetés seemed to defy gravity. The ballroom was silent now, breathless. Then came the recognition. Michael Carter, the head of security, leaned forward, eyes wide. He had once worked at the National Theater. He knew. In a voice that carried through the hall, he revealed the truth. "This is Monica Ray, the ballerina once hailed as America's greatest artist." A ripple of shock swept the room. The laughter stopped. Guests whispered her name, remembering headlines, posters, and performances from 15 years ago. She had been the principal soloist of the American National Ballet, until the accident that ended everything. Richard's smug grin faded into anger. The cameras captured it all. His bet, his humiliation, his racism laid bare. But Monica wasn't finished. She turned toward him, her voice steady, her dignity unshaken. "Honor your word," she said, "or admit to everyone that you judged me for the color of my skin and the work I do." The crowd waited, tension thick as glass before it shatters. Would Richard bow to his own wager, or reveal the depths of his cruelty before the world? The ballroom had never been so quiet. Every guest, every camera, every pair of eyes was fixed on the scene unfolding. Richard Anderson's smirk was gone, replaced by a mask of anger and humiliation. His drunken challenge, meant to belittle, had backfired in front of the city's most powerful. And now, the entire room waited for his response. Christopher stepped forward, breaking the silence. His voice, calm but firm, cut through the tension. He would honor his father's bet, but not because of a drunken wager. He wanted to honor Monica because he respected her. His words were met with a wave of applause, but Richard's face darkened. "You'll do no such thing," Richard spat, his voice trembling with rage. "You're my son, heir to this company. If you stand with her, you stand against me." And then came the ultimatum, spoken like a hammer striking stone. Disownment, exile from family, from fortune, from the empire Christopher had been born into. It was the rawest form of power used as a weapon. Wealth, bloodline, legacy held hostage against integrity. The room held its breath. Would Christopher retreat into privilege, or risk everything for dignity and truth? His answer was steady, unwavering. "So be it. Integrity is worth more than money." Gasps spread across the hall. Phones recorded every second. Richard, red with fury, had been stripped bare. Not just by his own words, but by his son's refusal to carry his cruelty forward. And then all eyes shifted to Monica, the woman who had been mocked, dismissed, and wagered like property. Would she accept this twisted prize of a forced marriage, or would she rise above the trap set for her? Her next words would decide everything. Monica stood tall, her presence commanding more respect than the chandeliers above her. She looked directly at Richard, then at the crowd that had once laughed at her. With quiet strength, she answered, "A dinner would be acceptable, but marriage should never be a wager. It should be built on love and respect." The hall erupted in applause. Richard's face twisted in defeat, while Eleanor slipped away in silence, her pride shattered. By morning, the video had spread across the internet. Millions watched Richard's mockery turn into his downfall. Within weeks, his company lost contracts, the board pushed him out, and even his marriage collapsed. But Monica's life moved in a different direction. She received invitations from ballet companies, offers from Lincoln Center, and even a call from Hollywood. More importantly, the children she had once taught pooled their savings to help her restart. 6 months later, the Monica Ray Center for the Arts opened its doors in New York City. It wasn't just a studio. It was a place where young dancers of every background could find opportunity, dignity, and hope. Christopher, true to his word, became her first major donor. Together, they built something larger than revenge. A future. In the end, Monica's victory wasn't in humiliating Richard. It was in reclaiming her art, her dignity, and her voice. Her story is a reminder that true nobility isn't found in wealth or titles, but in how we treat those we think the world won't notice. So the question remains, how many more Monicas must endure humiliation before society finally learns? And when the next cruel laugh echoes in a room full of privilege, will we stay silent, or will we stand and applaud dignity instead? What do you think? Was Monica's true victory found in the way she danced, the dignity she refused to surrender, or the lasting legacy she built for future generations? Her story proves that true strength doesn't come from wealth or power, but from resilience and integrity. If this story touched you, please give it a like and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories that uncover the hidden truths behind injustice.